Take 83. The Tino take sometimes is like a refuge for me. Just a kind of a sanctuary where I can go and just kind of get things cleared out of my mind. It's one of the main reasons why I enjoy broadcasting. I enjoy smartcasting. I've always thought about something like this. I actually had in mind a couple of years ago creating a show called The Sound of My Own Voice. Sounds very narcissistic, I know. But it came about because I was walking. I used to take really long walks, about maybe 2 hours long. And along the way, it'd be out in the countryside. And along the way, I would just start talking out in the open. We used to call them crazy people when we were younger. Now they're not crazy anymore, because anybody who just talks to themselves, other people just imagine that they're on some kind of cell phone. You can get away with it nowadays. But I used to walk and I used to clear out my thoughts by speaking out loud, so that the thought is not encapsulated in my mind and recirculating or getting mixed with other thoughts. It was very refreshing. It was kind of another sort of breathing. It's like breathing for the brain. And I thought to myself, well, why don't I bring a cell phone with me and record some of these conversations? Because a lot of insights come out of those conversations that you have with yourself as well. So I thought, this would be interesting for some kind of show, and I'd call it The Sound of My Own Voice, which was basically, there was no structure to it. It was just me emptying out my mind of the many thoughts that circulate through my mind. But anyway, that's kind of sidetracking, isn't it? Not really, because this is where I'm at. I mean, this Tino take has become that for me. I don't do it every day. And that's because I'm doing so many other things. Otherwise, I probably would be here every day. It's almost my own form of meditation. So I've been doing a lot lately. I'm still doing a lot. There's a lot on the plate, but I need a breather. And the Tino take, believe it or not, even though it's another thing on the list to do, it's a breather for me. It's a real breather, because there's the concept of inhale, exhale when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to information, when it comes to study. There's only so much information that you can take in, and eventually you have to breathe out. And so you have to breathe out what your thoughts are on that information. Otherwise, you clutter your mind. And I have a shadow in my life, and that shadow is the shadow of complexity. So I can complicate things. And I'll get more into that in the future of gene codes, because it's really having shadows in life. It can either be a challenge or it can be a gift. In fact, out of each shadow arises a gift, and the shadow of complexity gives birth or gives rise to the gift of simplicity, which I'm also good at. But there has to be a way of balancing that, and one of the ways that you balance that is that the amount of information that you take in needs to be balanced with the amount of information and knowledge that you give out. In fact, my idol, and I consider a teacher as well as a spiritual father many years ago, said directly to me, give your knowledge away and you will receive more. And that really stuck with me, because I can sometimes be not, but in the past I was very much a hoarder of knowledge. I always wanted to have the credit for interesting things that I've learned, and so I wouldn't really share it with people or share the source, I would share bits and pieces of it, because I didn't want to give away a particular, like if somebody asked me, oh wow, where did you hear that from? I wouldn't really tell them where I heard it from or where I got it from, or if it was some show, if it was some program, if it was a website. I wouldn't give that information away, because I thought to myself selfishly, well, if I give them that information, they won't come ask me anymore about it. And it's just was a really stupid way of thinking. I mean, really immature way of thinking. I'm glad I don't think that way anymore. And that was thanks to this really important, simple words. Share your knowledge and you will receive more. Give your knowledge away. Give your knowledge away and you will receive more. And that's the type of person that I am. I've been gifted in this way with the gift of insight. And so it is important to balance out the taking in of information with the exhaling of that information. Give that information out, make space and make room for other. Okay, so that was an unexpected introduction. DTube, YouTube, front ends, and other stuff. So my DTube experience continues to evolve, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's a learning experience. It's not really a great, okay. I don't want to shift the blame. Maybe I'm not really great at building up a following or an audience, rather than, because I was about to say it's not easy on DTube to build up a following or to have some kind of audience. And I think that's because it's still a small platform. I'm a nomad, so I'm not really community oriented, which is interesting because, no, that was the wrong word. I'm not team oriented, although I work well within a team. I mean, when I give my all, I give my all. But me being in human design, it's known as a 1-3 profile, but it's the one that is important. The one is a solitary person. The one is a foundational person. And one, when you look at the number, it's a singular type person. The archetype is the investigator, but it's also the archetype of the foundation builder, as well as the archetype of the person in the basement. As a foundation builder, I build things upon which other people can construct further. So, I'm in the basement, whereas someone else who has a profile 2 would be the first floor, and then there's a profile 3, and the building kind of gets built up. But I'm the guy that's always in the basement, checking and making sure that the foundation is solid for other people to build upon. And so it's kind of a loner kind of life. So even though there are communities in DTube, I mean, I'm following Duke lately, and he's great with his humor, his personality, and his leadership skills. But entering into communities is something that's not easy for me because it requires a lot of interaction. I tend to be shy, I tend to be reserved, and I tend to not trust people because trust is something that you have to earn. It's not something that is automatic in life. And so I'm very reserved, and I'm a reluctant joiner. But I am part of the Italy team, which I'm very happy about. It's a small team, so I'm happy I'm happy with that dynamic because I get to know people and I get to build up that trust factor. That is very important for me. And believe it or not, I'm still shy and timid even in that arena. But DTube, YouTube, front ends, and other stuff. I had recently, I keep bumping into this problem with the IPFS with DTube. And although it is frustrating at first, yesterday I had a sort of illuminating moment in which I thought to myself, wait a minute, the problem is not DTube. The problem is not even IPFS, the interplanetary file system. The problem is that I don't know enough about IPFS. And when a structure is offering a free service, at some point it's going to reach a limitation if it doesn't have participatory responses from the people who are using. And so with everything that's going on now, I don't really want to take that road to try to understand what IPFS is. DTube is not producing fruits for me to the point where I'm going to shift my activities and to shift my awareness and my concentration and focus towards DTube. But, I'm still there. I have my tokens there. And so I'm still trying to understand the system. But what this illuminating moment came last night when I thought to myself, wait a minute, if I'm uploading my videos to the IPFS, then I'm probably participating in the overburdening of that system because I'm not participating in that system. I mean, so far from what I've understood about the IPFS, it's kind of it's node related. It's like the peer-to-peer BitTorrent type thing. And what happens is that if I were participating, like if I had a node running on the IPFS, then I would have more of a guarantee that my videos would be uploaded. Now, if my videos are uploaded and other people are not storing them on some node somewhere, then obviously there's going to be an overburdening of the system. So it would be better for me if I had a node on the IPFS system in order to put up my videos and not have the problem of uploading videos, nor creating the burden of the IPFS system. So I thought to myself, okay, how can I unburden? If I'm not willing to set up a node and I don't have the time or the resources for that, and I don't want to burden, because then this caused me to think about front ends, and I thought, wow, DTube is a front end. A lot of people may think that DTube is a blockchain. No, DTube is a front end app that is on the Avalon blockchain. So it's the Avalon blockchain where the financial part of things going on with the DTC token, the DTube token, whereas DTube is a front end that allows you to interact with the Avalon blockchain. And I know all these things, and I've learned all these things thanks to my years of experience on Steam. So I know now, I realize, okay, the DTube front end should not be burdened either, unless you are in some way participating in the helping of maintaining it, because it's not automatic that, DTube is not automatically Avalon. Avalon is the blockchain, and that's where all the transactions and the storage of information goes. As far as I know, I don't even know if it's exactly like Steam or not, or if the Avalon blockchain is simply just recording the transactions. I really don't know a lot about it, but I know that the DTube platform that I'm using is simply the front end, and it's a tool. It's an app that is connected to the blockchain. So I thought to myself, okay, since number one, I'm having problems with uploading videos. Number two, I don't really want to use the other services just yet because I don't really know a lot about them, because I know that there's an alternative. I don't remember if it was the One Love community that provides a different uploader. And for the moment right now, it's not the right moment for me to go look into these things. But I just thought, okay, to unburden the system a bit and to have more of a guarantee that I can have my videos be put up, as well as continue to participate in the being involved on the D2 platform, getting tokens and getting to understand the system, and hopefully building up some kind of following eventually. I thought to myself, okay, let's go with the YouTube. Let's go back to the YouTube thing. Unfortunately, I always have to live with this kind of doubt that YouTube is going to censor me or not. So I'm coming to the conclusion that basically YouTube will help me to unburden the things. YouTube will give me the opportunity to be able to upload videos, as well as something that's very important, embed videos that don't create too much problem for my posting them on Steemit. Because what happens with DTube does not have an embed feature that is similar to the YouTube feature, where you can just embed, and I don't know whose fault that is. I don't know if it's a question of the Steemit front end not doing it, or I don't know if it's the question of the embedding the HTML code that I'm using. I don't know how to make the DTube videos pop up so that the image of the DTube video also becomes the image of the post. So what ends up happening is that I have to post up, I embed the video, and then I have to put within my post immediately somewhere underneath an image of what I want as the thumbnail for my post. So to unburden all that, to kind of come up with a solution for all that, I'm moving back to DTube as far as uploading my videos and then sharing them on DTube. And then if something happens where I am censored on YouTube, then I will have the backup of being able to go to DTube and hope that my video gets uploaded, because lately it's been happening more often that I get the IPFS error. And as far as I know, as far as I imagine, or my intuition tells me, that that's not something that is a DTube problem. It's, in other words, it's an IP. If it says IPFS problem with IPFS, then the problem was with IPFS and not the DTube uploader. So I made that change and, got some videos up. And one of those videos was Steam King, which I really enjoyed. I didn't put it in the post. I was supposed to put it in the description. Anabolic Beats is just the most amazing source that I have found. I mean, if I could just download, there must be hundreds of beats. I don't know how this person does this. One beat after the other. For me, for my style, I'm that 90s boom bap hip hop. That's where I'm. And this guy is phenomenal. I mean, he's phenomenal. He pumps out at least a track every day, which I'm sure, I don't know if he's doing one a day or if he's just gotten so many tracks done over the years that he's able to post up one a day. But it was Anabolic Beats that did the Steam King. I actually recorded that with a cell phone. I'm getting better at using this Audacity to improve the quality of the audio. I'm learning some little tricks here and there. And I put that together, and I'll get to the reason why, because we have some situation that's still taking place on Steemit. The Steem blockchain is still being hacked, and votes are being manipulated, and it's an unfortunate situation. I've talked about it in the past in the Tino Take, and particularly in that song there are bits of the Tino Take number 77, in which I was talking about the situation, and I was also predicting that situation in there, because a lot of things that I said there ended up actually happening. That's why I included it in, because it's kind of retrospect now. Those are things that I said, weeks ago, and they're coming to fruition, and people were kind of nasty with me. As is usually the case, when you touch an uncomfortable chord in people, and it's only natural that you're going to get a kind of a negative, pessimistic response, and to the detriment of those people. So Steam King is there if you want to listen to it, you want to check out the poetry, and I created it to draw attention to the situation, because then there's a nice long list of the former links that give the whole context of what's happening with this situation on Steemit and the Steem blockchain. Gene codes are going forward. I did session 5, and these, along with Steam King, these went up on YouTube because I couldn't get them up on DTube. I tried last night. I tried again, because I usually don't have the patience to wait until the next day. But I waited and then said, okay, still not working. I'm going to have to go to YouTube. And that's when I just kind of thought, okay, just stick with YouTube for now. If they censor you, go to the backup on DTube. And that's just what happened. So Gene Codes is going forward. I was talking about the 5 elements for harmonizing life, and that's becoming very enjoyable. I'm kind of having a difficult time at the moment because it's snail-paced movement through these sessions, because I'd really like to be talking about other stuff. Mainly, I'd like to be talking about human design. I mentioned it earlier, but that's where my focus of knowledge is at the moment. My focus of awareness is there at the moment. But I'm doing these sessions in this way because that way then people, if an audience builds up and people start getting interested in the gene codes, they can see what kind of categories I'm willing to cover. Because once I go through these main categories in an introductory way, then I'm going to be spending a lot of time on human design, and I'm going to be spending a lot of time on the 7 life energies. So that's there. Steam links. I'm thinking about making some changes as far as how I share my Steam links, because I'm really becoming more and more dedicated to the Italian community on the Steemit platform. And that doesn't mean I want to abandon Steam links, because, I created it, I founded it, and I see that a lot of people are using it. It's still attracting people. The number of people, we're approaching 500 people who have subscribed to the channel. Not that many people use it, but those who do use it, they use it on a regular basis. I mean, some people even post up 2 or 3 links a day. But because I want to give more support to the Italian community, I'm thinking about posting my Steam links within the Italian community, but then doing maybe like a weekly compilation to put within Steam links. I don't know. It's just a thought that's on my mind because I mentioned it now. So Steam links no, wait a minute. Here we are. Fear is contagious. Fear is contagious and used to control you. It's an article written by Dr. Joseph McCullough, who I have known of for years now. He's amazing in the field of, let's say, in the field of alternative health. I mean, we don't even like to use these words anymore. You know, alternative to what? To medicine? Medicine has nothing to do with health. Medicine has to do with disease. Medicine is the studying of the treatment of disease. They don't even, some people don't even want to, they don't even want to take the Hippocratic Oath anymore. Or maybe it's not even being offered, to take the Hippocratic Oath, do no harm, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. We are a long ways away from that. But anyway, Dr. Joseph McCullough put this fear is contagious and used to control people. And it's actually a study. There's actually studies being done on how this so-called pandemic, this environment that's being created around the world, is so being manipulated and so used to the benefit of a small group of people and to the detriment of the entire global community at large. And fear is contagious. I mean, if you think about, somebody screams fire in a cinema, that quickly spreads through to the entire group of people that's there. If somebody shoots off a gun, people start stampeding and going crazy. Fear is quickly contagious, but it is also slowly drip drop contagious. You can create an instant fear with a false flag, or you can create a slow, dripping fear where slowly it enters into the minds, just like we've been going through for the past year. And, ever since the beginning of this situation, we have now this kind of drip fear where you pass it from one person to the next person to the next person, and everybody starts to kind of feel the tension, saying, oh my goodness, we better do this, we better do that. And I think the elites have found a way to really, they must be overjoyed with what's happening. I know that they planned this out for a long time, but I think, it's like anyone who plans anything out. If you plan it out for a long time, the real joy comes when you actually start to implement it and see that it works. And it works. It's working. They've got, most of us under control. Most, not everyone, but they got most people really under control. And the fear is spreading and the control is becoming stronger in some places. Here in Italy, we're kind of relaxing now. The summer's upon us and people want to travel. People want to do their vacation. So they've laid back, they've set back, they've kind of pulled back a little bit. Because, of course, we're in the summertime. We're not in flu season. So, let people just enjoy themselves. But, hey, flu season will come back. Because you don't want to have a revolution on your hand during the summertime, do you? Because summer has this interesting effect on human beings and humanity in which humans tend to get more violent during the summer. I don't know why that is. I don't know what that mechanism is about. But there tends to be more violence. And I see it in my neighborhood. I live in public housing. And so, when people argue, I can hear it outside of my window. And every year, without fail, every year when the heat starts to kick in, you start hearing people arguing. People get stabbed. People are fighting, beating each other up. The cops are here every other day. It's crazy. In the wintertime, it's not like that. I don't know. Maybe in the wintertime, it gets too cold and people just kind of close themselves inside. They close the windows. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's just a perception thing. But anyway, that Steam link is there if you want to check out more, get more information on that. And then we have, this is the nugget. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It's the reason why Steam King came out, why I had to do that. I have a difficult time in these last couple of years. I've been having a really difficult time getting back to my music. I mean, I hear some amazing beats. I come up with some lyrics sometimes in my mind, but songs, in order to complete a song, there has to be, for me, there has to be an inspiration. There has to be something pushing that flow of energy through me to complete a song. And it's sad because I miss it. I miss writing. In the past, it wasn't like that. In the past, I could just grab a subject, any subject, and just kind of rip something out and record it in no time and publish it. I don't have that anymore, although I do believe it could come back. But I was inspired by the situation, the ongoing situation at Steemit, where voting trails are being manipulated, people's accounts are being manipulated. What a sad time, what an unfortunate time. So I wrote, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me," because I ended up here. I ended up seeing a situation where I discovered that I was lied to. It came to my attention that the Steem supporter situation is still going on. He still has access to a lot of abandoned Steem accounts, and he's figuring out ways to continue to manipulate it. He's created the trail like I said he would. I mean, he already did that before, but he's still doing it, and he's still doing it out in the open. He's still drawing attention to himself. And I think, and I seriously think that he's doing it to test the waters. He wants to see if his account will get frozen. If the account doesn't get frozen, then it's kind of like a green flag. Go, do whatever the hell you want. And the suspicion now, the suspicion now is, and other people are catching on to this, is that we're dealing now with a person who has a program. He has authorizations from People's Keys who had authorized the Steem Auto app. And with that authorization, especially having the active keys, he can now power down accounts. He can do market transactions. I mean, people may not believe that this is possible, but yes, absolutely. The Steem Auto app account now has the Steem Auto app, not the website, because it's all behind the scenes. But the database continues to run. I don't know, maybe it runs on the cloud or whatever the case may be. But this person now, Steem supporter, has the ability to change the code, because once you give your authorizations to the app, you're giving authorizations to whatever changes are made in the app. So now he can start to downvote people if he wants to. He can create a downvote trail. He can power down accounts. He can transfer funds. He can go into the market and exchange SDB for Steem. He can power up accounts if he wants to. I mean, having the active key, you have access to the funds. You have access to the tokens. And so there's this situation where he keeps testing the system. He's testing our witnesses. He's testing Steemit Inc. and Tron Foundation and Justin Sun. He wants to see if there are going to be repercussions, or if they're just kind of going to let him go, because the situation is kind of like this. All of these accounts gave their authorization to this account. That's not the responsibility of Steemit Inc. That's not the responsibility of the top 20 witnesses. That's not that's gray. That's a gray area there, because when you're manipulating the blockchain, you're manipulating voting system, you're siphoning out funds, you're manipulating the reward pool. I mean, I think I would say that the consensus witnesses and all the Steem witnesses are also there to protect not only the blockchain, but to protect the reward pool, the tokens that are created. So if someone is manipulating that, then that becomes a security breach that the consensus witnesses, in my opinion, I could be wrong, should be dealing with that. But what's happening now, I think, is that Steem supporter is looking to test the waters, see if there's a reaction other than me bashing him with my post and my songs, which, that doesn't really do anything. other than draws attention, because my contribution is to draw attention to the situation. I can't do anything other than that. I don't have the power that Justin's son has to say, hey, get on the phone and say, look, stop this nonsense. I don't have the power of the consensus witnesses to be able to run a hard fork or run a soft fork or go in and change the code, whatever it is that they do in order to stop this activity. But it seems like the plan now is that you get the community numb, because people start to realize, okay, I can't do anything about this, so just ignore it. I can't do anything about it, so what am I going to do? I'm going to continue to bang on the drums and say, hey, we got to stop this. We got to stop this. We all know we got to stop this, but those of us who can't do anything simply can't do anything. So the situation goes forward. So the next steps would be to start powering down accounts that people have abandoned, or that people who are not active on Steam or Steemit begin to power down their accounts, begin to transfer funds from here to there, and then have a final destination, probably on Binance somewhere, where all of these tokens could get siphoned out. Now, when and if those people ever come back, there's going to be hell, but, the response is going to be, listen, you gave your authorizations to this app. Steemit Inc. is not responsible for the apps that are on the blockchain. Steemit Inc. is responsible for Steemit. Yes, Steemit Inc. could do the same thing, because, the Steemit app is an app. Look, let's not confuse Steemit with the Steem blockchain. The Steemit app is still an app. Yes, we enter our passwords, we enter our keys into the Steemit app, but Steemit Inc. is not responsible for the other apps unless they say so. Steemit Inc. is responsible for the Steemit platform and the Steemit wallet. So there you have it. You can't go to Steemit now and say, hey, I gave my keys to the Steem supporters app, and I'm angry and I want something to be done. You gave those keys away. You didn't revoke, whether you were around or not, that's your business. But this is the situation that we're faced with. I don't know how he's going to come out. He might come out nice with this. It depends on how many accounts gave the authorization. Depends on how many accounts have something worthwhile in it. And if he's not stopped, when it'll stop? When all of the accounts are emptied out. Then, there's nothing else to do. Maybe just for fun. I don't know. Just for fun, just to kind of stick around and do silly upvotes and downvotes or whatever the case may be. But I think the objective is to get the funds out. After which, there's nothing else to do. Either he completely abandons the Steem system, or he creates another profile, he creates another personality, and goes off and does something else, if he's not already doing it. And in the post, I kind of went after Xpillar too, because Xpillar lied. I asked Xpillar, is the Steem Auto app shut down? Yes. I got an unequivocal yes. And I said, are you absolutely sure? Because and you know what it is? There's two factors to this situation. Him lying to me is kind of like, well, it's Familia Gorione. Who the fuck cares? I'll just kind of shut him up. I'll give him this little bit of candy so he can get off my back, because I'm trying to get the website up. I'm trying to, because I smashed on him as soon as they announced that the Steem Auto app was being moved to World of Xpillar. I said, oh, wait a minute. We still haven't resolved the old issue. Coincidence that we got a Steem supporter who has a connection to Xpillar because he was one of the people defending him. And now all of a sudden, Xpillar has the Steem Auto website already up and running and saying, hey, guys, isn't this great? Come and give us your authorization keys. Come and give us your posting keys. You can trust us. We are trustworthy people. Really? Why did you lie? Because, Familia Gorione, Tino, they're not important. It's not like lying to, the Steemit team and then having to be held accountable, or lying to some large stakeholder. It's like, if I can find a way to brush off this little nuisance, then, I'll do that because I'm just concerned about getting my website up. But then there was another issue because the rumor mill, there's always a rumor mill out there. And in the rumor mill, you know what they're saying in the rumor mill? That the X-Pillar Witness node is being run by Steam Supporter. And that begs the question, well, is the World of X-Pillar website where Steam Auto is now being run, is that also being run by Steam Supporter? So, new wine in old wineskins. I mean, I wrote the article and here we are. That's why I wrote it, because I said, has anything changed? Or did we just have the wool pulled over our eyes? Did we just get fooled? Are we being played for fools? Is X-Pillar really a witness? In other words, is he really running the node? Does he actually know the code? Or is he in cahoots with Steam Supporter to run his node, to run his website, and we're dealing with this criminal, that we're dealing with this trickster, we're dealing with this thief who X-Pillar, if all I'm saying has an inkling of truth in it, then you are an accomplice. I didn't expect any answer to my post, and I really don't. I really hope no comment pops up from him or Steam Supporter, because I don't care. I put this out as a rhetorical question to get people to reflect on it. X-Pillar is in league with Steam Supporter, was in league. They had projects together. He defended him. He staunchly defended him. And so did the Project Hope community, because listen, Crypto Piotr, he is a founder. So when you put your reputation on the line, you put your community's reputation on the line. So Project Hope is involved in this too, because they defended him. And I believe that there are people out there, there are always people out there that know more than what they're saying. So I don't know. This is the rumor mill. And if the rumor mill is saying this, I'm taking it into consideration and putting the pieces in, say, well, if this rumor is correct, well, then a lot of things make sense. The website that just suddenly popped up immediately. I mean, it just immediately went up. And here's the thing about the new World of X-Pillar site. We don't know if it's a brand new site or if Steam Supporter copied everything and just kind of imprinted it in there. I mean, I don't know if it's a brand new, started from scratch, but I'm curious. I'm curious to know if it was actually X-Pillar who did. Is he a developer? Is he a programmer? Is he running the node? Who's running his node? Who's running the website? Okay, these are issues of trust, because unfortunately, when dealing with the aspects outside of the blockchain, Steam as a token and Steam as a blockchain is trustless. We have no middleman. But when you go into the application part of it, then it becomes an issue of trust. So far, I don't trust any of these apps. I use Steam Fanbase because I know who created it. I know the creator. I have access to him. He lives down the road from me. You understand? But not everybody else has that privilege that I have. So I'm using Steam Fanbase. I'm helping them to develop it. But I can't ask people to trust that, because look at what's happening. Look at the environment that we're in. Look at the environment that we're in, a continuing environment. And I haven't heard from anyone at all. Not that I think I'm anybody who has to be informed, but there has been no reassuring information, feedback, anything about this situation and X-Pillar's connection to this guy. Because unfortunately, he put himself out there. You wanted to defend him. You wanted to defend Steam Supporter. I don't care if you had an argument with him. You're in league with this cat. You are one of his affiliates. You are, I don't know if you're friends. I don't know. I don't care what the hell you guys are. You guys are associated. X-Pillar defended him. X-Pillar pays him. He pays him. And they have projects together. So, okay. So you're guilty by association if you don't do something to stop the criminal that you are harboring, to stop the criminal that you are funding.
you're just as guilty. And I certainly hope X-Pillar never becomes a top 20 consensus witness. Okay, let's move on to another issue. Chi difende I nostri diritti? Roberto Mastaglia, avvocato. I'm loving this channel in the Italian media. When you hear a serious lawyer talking about how our rights are being trampled upon, how the Constitution is being used as toilet paper, it is very, very frustrating. It's very angry. It's very angry. I mean, we really have a situation where in almost all of the world, there is no more Constitution. I mean, I imagine that the power elites would just love to get rid of the idea of a Constitution. I mean, that would be the main objective of any kind of totalitarian dictatorship, fascism, or whatever it is that you want to call it. The idea is, let's shred these constitutions. The hell with people's rights. They do what we want them to do. You know, those who want to control the world want to control it. They don't want to give people rights and constitutions. So this is the second time that I've heard this lawyer just banging it out and just showing every step of the way how our Constitution is being trampled upon, whether it be the wearing of masks, whether it be these tests, the PCR tests, whether it be the calling of emergency, using the Emergency Act in order to validate these new kinds of therapies that are being experimented upon. I mean, just every aspect of what we've been dealing with over the past year is all completely unconstitutional. But having declared a pandemic, having declared a state of emergency, we have most of our constitutions around the world basically suspended. I mean, they have no more value. However, he did say that if you get a serious lawyer then you could fight for your rights and that the Constitution. But most people aren't going to go there. Most people just are not going to go there. It takes years sometimes to resolve cases. It takes years sometimes to get to the Supreme Court in order for a constitutional issue to be addressed so that the whole entire population of the nation can benefit from the outcome. I mean, it's not something so, but I'm hopeful that because this is a lawyer, I'm hopeful that he at least is doing it. I mean, he's suggesting it to other people. I would hope that he, as a constitutional lawyer, is taking action and putting in some kind of lawsuit or putting in some kind of action into the court system to start challenging these things. Okay, trickle up. Honeybees on the move. So it's not a trickle up trail anymore, even though I have my trickle up trail on Steam Fanbase, and I'm trying to work with it and trying to get more people involved in it. But I'm slowing down a little bit because, when you create these kind of things, the whole Steam world of this crypto media blockchain, and DTube, I mean, the DTube goes through this as well, and I imagine so does Hive and so does Blurt. You always have to be wary of scamming. You always have to be wary of people wanting to play the system. So I've extended the list, and what I'm doing now is I'm going to concentrate it into the community. I was thinking about calling it up a trickle up community, but I don't want to involve my community members in this. I don't want them to feel obligated. The Italy game witness is a witness node, a Steam witness. And so I'm experimenting and I want to see where I can take this. So, I got something interesting coming up with that. I was very grateful to have a couple of people who said that they would be interested in playing with this. So I wrote Honeybees on the Move, and honeybees are the first step of the process of trickle up. It's the honeybees where we want to have them empowered so that the trickling up, and it's difficult now to say trickle up when when I look at the list that I've created, it looks like it's trickling down, but it's trickling down because I inverted the list, right? Because the idea for me was to take the heavy accounts and create the power of the vote, put the weight of the vote into the smallest account. So it would be upside down. You would have this kind of trickling up because the smaller accounts would gain the favor of the larger accounts, and then they would grow more quickly and then start to trickle up the trail. But now it's not a trail concept anymore. It's a community concept. But I'm not going to call it a trickle up community. I'm just going to call it trickle up. It's the trickle up project, the trickle up experiment. And so 4 people are on it, including myself, Emilio Gorione. We have Claudio, another Italian, Robitrix, another Italian, and a young lady, Rusmaira, from Venezuela. They're the ones who are participating at the moment. There's no rigid rules. The main thing is that the Supreme Honeybee, I haven't come up, I don't know what to call Champion Honeybee, Supreme Honeybee. Don't know. I haven't decided on that. The main thing, the main objective of the Supreme Honeybee, I'll call it Supreme Honeybee for now because I like how that sounds. I can't say Queen Bee because, then what if it's a guy? So Supreme Honeybee. So the Supreme Honeybee, the responsibility of the Supreme Honeybee is to lose your crown, is to find a way to overtake second place. So if the Supreme Honeybee, which in this case is Robitrix, she now has the responsibility in some way or another to build up her steam power in such a way that she overtakes Rusmaira, and in that way, Rusmaira then becomes the Supreme Honeybee. And then so there's this cycle, and the rest of the list, the rest of the project, all the people, they also get votes or they get comments, or because I'm moving this idea away from the idea of being a trail. I had hoped it would be a trail. I'm doing my trail, like I'm creating my trail and seeing if people want to participate and what kind of effect that have. But this project, this experiment is taking another direction, and the other direction, and in this direction, I have to be careful about who becomes the Supreme Honeybee, because I have to think to myself, are they going to siphon out coins, or what if some trickster comes in or becomes part of the project and they have 5,000 SP. Well, they could just delegate those 5,000 SP to someone else, and they end up becoming the Supreme Honeybee because now they only have 1 steam power. So I have to be watchful. This can't be an automatic thing. I can automate some parts of it, but I have to have a watchful eye, and so I'm concentrating a lot of the effort of making because my country representative asked me to not make this rigid. Don't make it such that people are closed in with too many rules in order to participate. But I think if you're going to be the Supreme Honeybee where you get the most of the benefits, I mean, you're talking about 100% upvotes from my part 3 times a day, as well as my giving, my promoting and putting your name out there, putting your profile out there. So I have to be careful because my reputation is on the line, because whoever wants to game the system, I have to be the safeguard. I have to be the threshold guardian in that. So right now there's 4 people, but I've got a new list of about maybe 28 people, 29 people, maybe even 30 people now. So what I'm doing is I'm going to concentrate it into the Italian community, into the Italy community. So only members and friends of the community, because we have new titles now. Country representative figured out how to change titles. So now we have in the community, we have guests, people who just kind of want to post every once in a while or participate in some of the contests that is being run by Italy Game. And then we have members who are full-fledged members. They've been around for a while. They've been confirmed of not being an alt account, a fake account. And then we have friends. Those are people who are just arriving in. And so I'm taking the list of members, obviously the entire team of the moderators and admin, and I'm adding that to this trickle up experiment. Nobody has any obligations, but since we're in the community, we help each other anyway. So other people, when they see this list, the hope is that when the Supreme Honeybee is chosen, then that the rest of the community seeing the post and seeing who is up there can help in whatever way. You can upvote the person, You can upvote their comments. You can delegate steam. But there's a lot of different ways that you can help a Supreme Honeybee. The idea initially was to just have the whole trail help the smallest account, empower the smallest account in no time. But what I'm doing now is I'm going to create some conditions, and I've been reflecting on that, but I came up with something very, very, very good. Because I didn't know if I wanted to exclude people who transfer out too many Steam tokens, because I don't want to dip into what people have the right to do what they want with their Steam tokens. And so people who are powering down or people who are transferring all their funds out. Okay, so what do? Do you punish them? I mean, people are here for different reasons. People are on the Steem platform, on the Steem blockchain for different reasons. So I've come up with something very simple. The Supreme Honeybee, very simple. I just simplified all this. Doesn't matter if you're powering down, if you're selling all your tokens. If the Supreme Honeybee, in order to take the crown of the Supreme Honeybee, in order to receive the crown of the Supreme Honeybee, you have to accept the challenge of overtaking whoever's next in line. So I'm going to see if that works. If that challenge is not accepted, then that person gets paused. Or that person, let's say that person may get paused, or that person stays, doesn't get into the number one position. Just doesn't get into the number one position. I mean, if you can't, if I don't have the number one person participating, then it's all pointless. Or if I have the number one person who is trying to scam the system or just milking tokens out of the system, that doesn't work either. So if a person does not accept, then whoever is the Supreme Bee, which at the moment right now is Robitrix, she remains the Supreme Honeybee. And now I will see if that works. And my contribution is that I'm creating this trail in which that's my contribution, apart from the fact that I'm the one who's pushing this idea forward. Anyway, we've gone long enough. Please vote for Italy Game as a Steam witness. We have a node running. We have our tech, Max, who is doing his best to keep everything running smoothly. The node as well as the Steam fan base. The Steam fan base is new, so you're going to have glitches. I'm even having glitches today. I haven't been able to add people to my list today. So that's that. So if you like what we're doing within the Italian community, come on into the community, see what's there for you, see what you like, and hopefully you can become a friend of the community, and then take it from there. You can become a member of the community, and then see where it goes from there. We're constantly growing, and we always have the doors open to everyone. Listen, it's been a great Tino take. I feel much better. My sanctuary has replenished me, and so it's been great. I thank everyone for taking the time to listen. I thank you all for the support, and we will catch up very soon with another Tino take.